do jump back into Champion Select. I think they also, Annie doesn't necessarily put a timer in your game because she does have good AoE stun potential. However, she is that squishy support in her own right as well.
Yep.
And does have a different build path. We are seeing Pantheon being hovered here by Impaired. Would not be surprised. And wow, they're Draven.
My gosh. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the League of Draven. We have for you gigantic amounts of spinning axe damage to your face plus fire. So this is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Annie Draven is definitely a kill lane. So look for them to be getting aggressive early.
Yeah, with an ultimate called Whirling Death, you're definitely going to be trying to deliver some killing blows. And of course, with that passive as well, I mean, it's fantastic to play with this Annie, which is just such a high damage and a high pick champion as well, because you can really start to utilize that passive, get that money rolling in, and get the lead that you need as a Draven. Because if you fall behind as a Draven, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, and this kind of means that the rest of the map can pick whatever they want because so much of the attention will be in that bottom lane. You see that Shah will be maybe going with that Janna. Wouldn't be a bad pickup because of how all in the bottom lane is. And if you get Pantheon in there as well, that is just a lot of CC that can lock you down and kill you.
Yeah, and I really like how Symphony have organized this as well. They picked their bottom lane and their jungler, so they are going to be able to counterpick at least one of these lanes, unless Chenny Boy decides to lock in a Malphite, which can go either top or mid relatively easily.
Yeah, I think that will be a top Malphite. We've seen it pop up a little bit more, and the point of the Malphite in this composition is to just sit on top of Draven. Of course, very immobile, no ability.
All of these champions are immobile so far.
Yeah, no ability to be able to get out of there. And if we see something else that has AoE potential in the mid lane, it just means that if he hits a good unstoppable force, there is so much potential for the knockups to continue. The Lee Seam kick can come across and knock up multiple people.
Speaking of knockups, Jake Spawn Tiberi.
Chenny Boys plays Yasuo.
He does play Yasuo. Yasuo's recently been a little bit buffed. Might possibly come through here. I'm incredibly excited if that could be a thing. I mean, does fantastically against Ahri as well. I mean, it's a skill matchup because everything's a skill matchup if there's an Ahri involved. But if you use that wind wall correctly, you're going to be dodging a fair bit of that stuff.
I think that Ahri now wins the matchup because she just dives head first through the wind wall.
Right. Yeah.
And because there's not... the damage was nerfed off the Q.
Boy can dream.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that Ahri... I think that is still a fine matchup. I don't think Yasuo loses it by that much if it was the plan that you just don't pick it here.
Yeah. But First Mate is going to be opting for that Maokai yet again, so going to be a tree in that top lane, just blending in with the forest.
I think Fizz is a good pickup here by Chenny Boy. I think if they go with Fizz, they have exactly what they need to be able to get rid of Mizui on Draven and wins the lane against Ahri as well.
Yeah, you mentioned exactly how you do that, of course, making sure that you just wait for that first Spirit Rush and then destroy Ahri.
Yeah, so what you do, because there is a little bit of a pause between Spirit Rushes, you make sure you dodge the charm off the first Spirit Rush and then just throw a fish. However, it looks like maybe a Xerath pickup. Not as happy about Xerath. I think Xerath in his own right is much too immobile to play into an Ahri when there is a Pantheon on the map.
Yeah, not a lot of lockdown as well. Xerath works out fantastically when Rise was really, really strong. Of course, Rune Prison, just ult on their face. That Rite of the Arcane going to be really handy, but just hovering at this stage, Orianna might be a decision to be made here, and you can Unstoppable Force Shockwave. The Unstoppable Shockwave always going to be working out in your favor.
Yeah, they do lack a little bit of damage here, however. They've only really got Chenny Boy for that big upfront burst.
Yeah.
And then Day shifted on Ezreal, who we've already said good control AD carry, but maybe not the highest burst potential AD carry with the consistent crits coming out of someone like a Draven.
Yeah, that is very, very true. It could have been a different option that they could have gone for. And of course, Rich Homie might have opted for that DFG Malphite build that I know a certain someone on this particular caster desk does enjoy playing quite a lot.
Yeah, I think that is a good build, but I don't think it will be picked up.
I don't think so either. I think it might be something just play in the comfort of your own home, ladies and gentlemen. I like playing with it though, don't you worry. I enjoy it when you play a bit of that.
Whilst DFG isn't maybe a legit build, I think the Malphite can get away with building a couple of sneaky builds that do get him some damage in there. If he goes, because let's face it, he's going to be dueling First Mate for a lot of this game. If he gets an early...
Abyssal Scepter?
Abyssal Scepter, thank you. With a Sunfire Cape, he actually does a lot of burn damage AoE with the ultimate coming through as well.
Yeah, and you can build a Leandri's Torment as well. There's a lot of these Malphites that have been going heavily into the flat magic penetration, making sure that they can get as much of that shred going on that they can, and then building tank after that.
Yeah, and you think if Malphite dies in there with that Abyssal and then a Shockwave hits multiple people, all that shred that comes through does a very good job. In saying that, multiple ultimates may be a little bit hard to hit.
That is true. We'll see whether it is going to be the thing that they are going to be able to go for. Of course, Annie, Draven, and that Pantheon not going to be having these dashes, these abilities to get out of the way of things other than the flash in order to help them out in those situations. So we'll see what happens. But if Symphony gets the drop on Rich Gang at any point in this game, they're dead. I mean, you land a really good Tibbers, there is so much damage to come out of Impaired on this this Pantheon. Of course, still does a lot of damage, and of course, Yo-Yo-Youngi's going to be blowing people up, and the Annie burst in and onto itself, not to mention Missouri.
Yeah, I think that they have a good snowballing team. If they get ahead, they can really run away with the game quite quickly. I do not know if they can play from behind with this team, just because of how much dive potential does come out of a Malphite. If he is able to pick up some early armor, he is an absolute terror.
Yeah, that's really true. But if we look at this team comp, I'm much happier to see it in the hands of Symphony because it's far more aggressive, as we mentioned. But as we were talking about this, we are back onto the Rift with now Symphony on our blue side and Rich Gang picking up the red pants. And fanning out this time. Rich Gang not looking to go for anything overly aggressive as Rich Homie's spotted putting his ward in there.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of a stack coming out of Rich Gang once again, but the fan being matched by Symphony. Maybe looking for an early invade.
Quite possibly.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
But we do have them just heading around here. There's the Sonic Wave landing onto Youngie, actually.
That's a lot of early damage. He's going to have to go back. That gives complete control of the bottom side jungle over on to the Rich Gang team.
A couple of wards being placed down here as well. So Rich Gang gaining control here of the red side jungle of our blue team. Symphony now just hanging out, very scared to enter their own jungle. So you can see this is what they're playing with. They're playing with this fear now inherently in them after Rich Gang just stomped them.
Yeah, and we actually do have a pause coming through quickly. Check out what that one is. No, looks like it will be resumed.
It's not true, ladies and gentlemen. It was just a joke. No, it's not going to be resumed just yet, but I just hope that Symphony can find their way into this matchup because we saw as they had their jungle invaded, they just got so frightened and just immediately left. Of course, Yo-Youngi taking a lot of damage, so of course it is a good idea to leave, but every other member just didn't want to come through. So we are now back on to the Rift. First mate and Impaired. Now looking to start off at this Gromp as it does just nibble on that mushroom.
Yeah, so both junglers look like they are starting on the top side of the map. So both getting leashes from their top laner. Looks like Day Shifted and Rich will be able to pick up the Gromp for themselves.
And in the mid lane here, Yo-Youngi and Chenny Boy just going to be battling it out. And I think that Chenny Boy might be safe enough if he does have this command protect with a couple of points a little bit early on, would you say? In order to help him out against the burst.
Yeah, I actually think that Orianna does completely fine against most assassin mid laners. Is able to shockwave if he dives on top of him. Does have to hold that ultimate as a reactive spell, however. But once it... Oh, no, this is the reverse, sorry. Mizui and Airy doing the pushing this time around. Much more aggression coming out.
Yeah, we'll see whether Mizui has learnt from First Mate the art of Draven. Because, of course, First Mate, a very formidable Draven player. Had him banned against him a lot throughout last year's season. And Mizui now, of course, playing with Sensei First Mate there in the top lane. So whether he can make this one happen. First Mate now landing a nice arcane smash here onto Rich Homie. And this is much more of a tank war. We've got sort of like plant versus rock here in the top lane. And yeah, I think it's like a mountain ash versus a mountain itself. And it's just nothing's really going to happen, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think that what it does do, though, is it turns it into a complete farm lane, and now we get to see how good Malphite is with farm. He is one of the best late-game champions, as we see again coming in from Huey.
Yeah, nice Sonic Wave Resonating Strike combo, but straight into that charm. Not quite in the tower range as well, so Huey is going to get out of there with his life. That was so incredibly close to a dead Huey, and fantastic reaction from Impaired.
Yeah, that definitely was very, very close. Much better proactive play coming out of Impaired there. Willing to burn his flash to try and get his mid laner ahead, because we saw what happened when they did fall behind last game. Continued pressure in this bottom lane as well.
Oh,
wow.
Nice damage. Eri making sure he gets right the edge of that W in order to pick up that stun. Of course, Eri having played Annie a lot, especially while he was playing for a lot of the other pro teams that he has been with. Very aggressive on this support and was incredibly popular last year as well towards the early stages.
Yeah, and I don't think last game showed how good Missouri mechanically is an AD carry. He kind of went on to Corki, didn't get much done, but from what I have seen, he has been playing this role fantastically well as he runs into turret, as I say that.
Just proving you wrong there just a little bit, having a giggle before and now taking a tower hit just for fun. We are going to have the stun being brought up here by Eri, now throwing out some auto attacks just to cheat out just any animation from Annie. So you see that and then you can react to the animation. So Eri making sure that he's throwing out auto attacks as often as possible, making sure that he keeps Rich Gang on their toes here.
Yeah, definitely. As we take a look around the map, CS is pretty much dead even everywhere apart from the mid lane. Little bit of a slap fest.
Like that combo, making sure that Rich Homie couldn't get out of the way of that sapling. First mate getting some damage down here. And this time deciding that he wants to go for that Doran's Ring. So having a little bit of extra power here. Impaired, very aggressively jungling around here as well. And Huey is going to make his way to safety. Chenny Boy not wanting to rotate around an area as well, offering support immediately. Straight away walks up that river.
Yeah, definitely. Much better communication, it looks like, coming out of Symphony. And they're just playing this map much more aggressively. They've been pushed in bottom lane the entire game, just ensuring that they get this Draven going early. And the more these stacks build up, the more the first gank with Pantheon at level 6 will just go bottom. I can nearly promise it.
Yeah, we'll see whether that is what's going to happen. One thing I would like to bring up is, I think what we should do is make it so that pings for every player on a team are a different sound, so that Symphony can actually make themselves a song. So, you know, after they do something good, they can all just play a little ping song. What do you reckon?
It's an idea. We'll put it up there.
Yeah, we'll put it out there. Put it out there. Well, in the works, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry. Just had a brainwave. Had to share it with everyone. Yo-Yo Youngie now is going to be trying to clear out this wave, maybe offer a little bit of extra damage here. Orbit Deception not going to find its mark, but it has hit level 6 before Chenny Boy has here in this lane.
Chenny Boy now joining him there, so.
Yep. It's about the most exciting thing to talk about here because nothing else really happening so far. It's sort of like the calm before the storm in this game. And who does this work out for? If this game keeps being passively played out, do you think that Rich Gang with their Wombo Combo teamfight are going to be in a better position in an evenly matched teamfight?
Yeah, I actually have no idea. It all comes down to execution. It's whether Symphony can get the picks they're looking for with Orianna and transition that into objectives, or whether that just does become a Wombo Combo teamfight. I definitely think in a 5v5, everyone full health late game, Rich Gang win. But wow, as the teleport comes in.
Oh, a flash away from the Howling Gale as well. Nicely played by Missouri. Does have to blow that summoner spell though, and Huey was right round the corner. That being said, Malphite with his teleport now on cooldown.
Yeah, definitely. Summoner spell for a summoner spell. We see a giant spell actually coming out for Malphite, so we can assume he is going for that Sunfire Cape first. Not really respecting the damage that can come out of First Mate at this point.
When he probably should. I mean, First Mate in the lead on CS here as well. Does have that Catalyst as a protector now built up, so a lot of regen if he stays in lane to level up. And he's just going to be shoving relentlessly here as well. And that Arcane Smash, now that it's got a couple of points, doing a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, and now that he has that Catalyst, he can just push relentlessly and count on that as his mana regen. Of course, with that Duran Ring coming through as well. Not even using mana to shove in Rich Homie.
Yeah, Rich Homie just going to try and hold the wave here, try and get a little bit of a freeze happening. First Mate's going to have to go very deep if he wants to make something happen. But Huey, not really around, and there is at least one ward here for First Mate in order to keep him safe, as a sapling is going to explode some of these
And now
creeps.
Yo-Yo Youngie and Impaired have joined up. They are going in for a little bit of a pick here. They know where Huey is.
Really nicely timed right when that red buff came up. Yo-Yo Youngie's going to have a free charm's going to miss it though. Orbit Deception's going to come way back, and a brilliant two-person snipe, and oh my gosh, the spear's going to Spirit Rush over. Yo-Yo Youngie forces the flash out of Huey as well, but that was on a silver platter. And Yo-Yo Youngie just not quite managing to land the charm.
Does get the Whirling Death out as well from Missouri in the bottom lane. They pick up the red buff, so they get something for it, but that was a free kill.
Yeah, very upsetting. Chenny Boy going to find this pink ward here as well. As Rich Homie makes his way back to that top lane. First Mate did get a bit of time here. Of course, there was some rotating around this map by Rich Gang, trying to get themselves into places to help Huey out. So it's bought First Mate a little bit of time up here. But not much to be said for it, as another charm's going to go a little bit wide. You may be feeling the pressure here a little bit on this Ari.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. Hasn't been back to buy yet, whereas Chenny Boy definitely has. Chenny Boy still with a CS advantage. A lot of gold on nearly every member of this map.
Yeah, and of course our AD carries, this is exactly what happens. They just seem to keep as much money as they can at all times. We do have an extra couple hundred gold on Missouri. Sitting ahead on CS just a little bit here.
Yeah, and Huey's actually started the Dragon up by himself, has recognized that the bottom lane has gone back.
Yeah, brilliant timing.
They have absolutely no idea this is going on because Jana joined from the actual forest entrance. Now maybe have an idea because that's where Oriana walks, but everyone went back. That's really poor back timing.
Yeah, and that's another back actually coming through from Impaired here. They're going to pull it out of the pit, and took them forever to do that dragon, but it was just handed to them.
Yeah, it definitely was. So great control over the map coming out.
And this is exactly what happened in the last game. I mean, free dragons, all of these other objectives other than what's in the lane seem to just be going to Rich Gang for free.
Yeah, and however, Draven, BF Sword and Pickaxe on a big back, that is huge for him against the Manamune, which is good for Ezreal, but that needs to stack up. So if they can get an ult from Impaired right now, who's got a Brutalizer himself, they could do a lot of work in this bottom lane and get Missouri so far ahead that he could start snowballing by himself.
Yeah, it really is a little bit of a power trough here for Ezreal, but of course when you do manage to finish up the completed Manamune, it's a little bit better, but as you mentioned, not going to be great. Day Shifted going to be forced to play relatively far back here, but Wave getting pushed into his turret is going to be A-OK.
Yeah, so Adoration stacks continue to stack up for Missouri.
And he really needs to start cashing in on some of these because the next dragon fight is when they'll have to make a difference on this map. Symphony really needs to start taking these objectives and claiming some form of control. You can see they've got a lot of wards out there now, but it's just too little too late.
Yeah, and they're kind of in the wrong spot. So there's one at the red buff from where the early invade was, but apart from that, there's only bottom side river really that is warded. And they're being mirrored very, very well by Rich Gang. As we see Airy walking over a ward, trying to get a bit of a gank mid lane potentially.
So they need to be sweeping their jungle out as well. I mean, that ward spotting the rotations coming through from Symphony. Kenny Boy very far back in his lane, of course, because he has to be.
Yeah, they know exactly where Airy is at this point, and he's just left Missouri bottom lane to be able to 2v2.
And let's talk again about Chenny Boy as well, because he has been a linchpin for Rich Gang so far. I mean, had a rough time in the very early game, last game, but his Ari was fantastic, and so far up 20 CS just about in this lane. With his Athenes on Holy Grail already finished up, just showing mastery over this mid lane position and really being a force to be reckoned with on the side of Rich Gang. Yeah,
it definitely is playing terrifically on two completely different styles of champions as well. So props to him for being that mid lane carry his team needs. In a 2 damage threat, that is definitely what he needs to do on this Oriana, is get nice and farmed up in the early game, but still no kills seen. And we mentioned how Symphony probably needs to be a bit more aggressive. Just looks like they're not wanting to play that way.
Yeah, it's true. Impaired with a little bit of an item advantage as far as those raw statistics are concerned. And Youngie trying to make something happen around here. Oh, that's actually the incredible burst. Nice shockwave going to come through as well. Chenny Boy immediately deleting everyone. It's going to be the command attack for the kill finally on Yo-Yo Youngie. And that was what seemed to be a nice play from Symphony, but the follow-up from Rich Gang was just immediate.
Yeah, and they had Rich Homie wandering down as well. Impaired must have called that for his team because he's at the turret.
Yeah, First Mate's just up here anyway. Use that ultimate just to clear that one out, and Airy takes a lot of damage from that attack dissonance combo.
Yeah, and this may be the mid lane turret falling down in return for top again. It just surprises me that First Mate is putting so much emphasis on getting ahead top on what isn't a carry top laner. He's a tank. He needs to get in there and facilitate for his team. And the rotations around the map have just been much better from Rich Gang in both games so far.
Yeah, it seems to me like First Mate just very scared to use his teleport as well.
Flank has come through though. He's onto Chenny Boy, who is
Yeah, we are going to have the stun coming through as well. Nice chain CC coming down. The monsoon though from Rich Shah is going to be able to keep Chenny Boy alive for now. Unstoppable force onto 2 members. First Mate and Impaired in a lot of trouble. Impaired's now going to die. That's going to be the double kill now coming through for Huey. First mate trying to do what he can to stay alive. The Ventral Maelstrom is there. Nice Orbit Deception to stop the idea of coming back in. But Rich Gang again with so much power.
Yeah, and that's just a horrible turnaround once again. Symphony looking to get aggressive finally in this matchup, and Chenny Boy just surviving on a slither of health means that they fall even further behind. They're a Dragon and 3 kills back now. And Mizui on this Draven is looking good, but just not able to pick up a first kill.
Yeah, that's true. We are going to have an Arcane Smash going to come down, hit Huey for a bit of damage there as well. And Mizui taking a couple of turret shots as well. Maybe he wants to play a little bit more of that co-op versus AI, just to make sure that he knows the ranges on that particular structure. He's going to rush through Day Shifted. Got his friend back.
Did also ultimate in the last wave, so potentially looking to go back shop, pick up his Infinity Edge. He definitely has a gold for that one. He's sitting once again on 2,000 gold. They're sitting on so much gold the whole game, and then when they finally go back and buy it, just looks like Rich Gang has the answer to all of their moves.
Yeah, and it seems to me like they're not utilizing power spikes either. It's like they're going back at sort of
an item and a
times.
half as opposed to a full item.
Yeah, not really getting the spikes in the ways that they want them to. Nice Charm's going to land. Yo-Youngie has actually learnt what that ability does, and he's going to be able to hit that one this time. So that one's working out. Chenny Boy's going to be A-okay, though. That Command Protect going to do a lot of work. 1-0-2 now on this Orianna.
Yeah, Impaired once again taking a lot of damage from his own jungle. It is half health. Airy continuing to stay. Wow,
another
nice
charm going to land. Max range there as well. Command Protect though going to come through. There's the Shockwave going to catch him out of that Spirit Rush. We've got Tibbers coming down, and here is quite a late man drop, but it is going to force the flash out of Rich Shah as well. Always trading. Oh, okay. True Shot Barrage going to just steal away some health from Airy.
Yeah, so many ultimates used as well. Dragon is just about to come up once again. Can almost guarantee this will go back across to Rich Gang, who are definitely in position. Mizui looking to get a ward on it, however, but they're probably the 3 most important ults out of Symphony at this point in the game, and that's just, this is disaster once again.
Yeah, Shockwave on cooldown, as is True Shot Barrage as well, though, so no, they're not going to be able to do anything. They're nowhere near this one. Only 1,000 health, and that one's going to be secured. So Dragon number 2, again, going over to Rich Gang. And this is where they got all of their power in Game 1, and it seems to be where they're going to focus it once again. Nothing that Symphony can really do about it at this stage. We'll see whether they can come through in the later stages when, of course, you know, with this 2-threat comp, may not be quite as easy for Rich Gang to hold the power.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that's where the game is headed if Symphony are going to get anything back in it. I don't think at this point in the game they can fight whatsoever. They have picked up a DFG. Mizui with that Infinity Edge is going to be hitting quite hard, but as soon as Day Shifted picks up that Iceborne Gauntlet, you feel that even Ezreal may be able to 1v1 Draven at that point, although that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, you can see he's just smacking him with these spinning axes. But I think Mizui really wants to make something happen here, but he just can't really get enough of an edge in order to actually secure a kill, and he just needs to get rid of those Adoration stacks.
Yeah, that needs to be the focus. As soon as Pantheon's ult's up, he needs to get bottom lane. There is no point trying to chase a Malphite out of the lane. It's to the point now where Malphite's got 140 CS, you're probably not going to kill him with a Pantheon and a top Maokai.
No, not at all. In the same respect, First Mate's not going to be going anywhere either, so just leave them there on the island and really try and affect the map in an area where you can. Like here in the mid lane, Chenny Boy gets charmed at the very end of that one. Beautifully done, but look at this. Huey just kicking Yo-Youngie in the face. Going to be safeguarding just to that ward, just to get one last auto attack, and that's going to be Rich Homie picking up that kill. And Rich Gang always with the answer to the plays coming out of Symphony.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, teleport is up for First Mate. Rich Homie just wanders out of lane and absolutely no response from the top laner on the side of Symphony.
Yeah, and it seems he's not actually getting himself anything either. Sort of the wave is halfway down the lane. He's just going to back off here. Huey's going to get some damage on this inner turret here in the mid lane as well. And looks like Symphony may be falling apart here communicationally, especially with the top side.
Yeah, Airy finally able to chase Huey off that turret, but that is a strong gust will take that down at this point.
Yeah, a little sort of breath of fresh air. I think a Rise might be able to clear out that turret.
As we see, Huey maybe staying a little bit too long, has been caught.
Yeah, there's the stun layering here as well. Huey's going to be forced to flash. There's another stun. The shutdown coming through. Impaired finally gets something back here in this game for Symphony. Missouri doing a nice job here, actually, 2v1. Still managing to stay ahead on this CS, but not ahead enough, you could imagine, as the scrying orb's used just to make sure that he's not getting ganked.
Yeah, I think that they need to, both teams now need to have a look at Missouri, because he's at the point with nearly 50 Hadoration stack, I think, that if he gets a kill, he's going to explode. But if he is killed, this game is nearly, once again, it's going to be extremely rough for Rich Gang, for Symphony to keep control if that Draven gets killed.
Yeah, it seems to me like if he gets a kill, he's going to explode, and if he gets killed, he's probably going to explode too. So not too badly explained there, Spawn. Fantastically done. Bench from Maelstrom going to be used to just help get these minions to the right point. First mate, fantastic work clearing out these minions. He's now just got to utilize his team fight ability on this Maokai to affect this map. And he's got the Merc Treads. He's got an extra Giant Spell on top of his Rod of Ages as well. He's huge right now. I think that they can probably fight for the next dragon, make something happen around this map. Otherwise, the same thing's going to happen again. He's just going to be going into these fights and dying while his team can't do anything.
Yeah, well, the problem is he can't get tanky enough to survive if he doesn't fight early on in the game, because the carries are the people getting the gold. Lee Sin has picked up a couple of additional kills this game, but he's going straight. Wow. Missouri.
Oh, Mizzui's. And actually, Whirling Death, he was looking the other side of the map, I believe, and Missouri now caught out, and I think it's going to be exploded instead of exploding at this stage. Oh, Rich actually going to go down first, mate, finally using his teleport here. Rich Homie, though, right in this backline, gets charmed up as well. First mate now the focus way up there in the front line, forced to use that flash to get out of the way. Sonic Wave's going to land. Yo-Yo Youngie falls down by a brilliant thread the needle on that Mystic shot by Day Shifted. And Rich Gang again, 1 for 3.
Yeah, every single time going into these fights, they just look like they have the edge.
Yeah.
Maokai comes down this time, but look how much more quickly he's dying than, Rich Homie on that Malphite. Malphite was able to stick in there, tank up a couple of members.
Yeah.
In the end, as soon as Missouri was off that map, they could not afford to fight that anymore.
And you can see as well, Rich Homie just building up this armor because he knows that he wants to be fighting in these team fights. He wants to be making sure that Draven just can't do anything. Just jump onto his face. There's nothing you can do about me, mate, and I'm just going to kill you. So
yeah, and he's at the point right now where he's nearly got 2 completed items, one of which is going to be a Frozen Heart. If he even has a Frozen Heart anywhere near Missouri, Missouri will not be able to attack.
Yeah, he just won't.
And he can't do damage to the Malphite just because of how much armor will be coming through from that W as well. This game is all kinds of bad. It's only a 3,000 gold difference, but Symphony aren't just playing like they can win the game.
Yeah, it's almost like Yo-Yo Youngie's going to need to blow up Homie Dre in the top lane before anything can happen for Symphony in this matchup. And it seems to me like Rich Gang are just in the heads of Symphony this whole matchup.
Yeah, and that's what we keep coming back to. It looks like Rich Gang are playing extremely positive League of Legends. They're going out.
Yeah.
They're getting vision control in the jungle. They're taking the early dragons. They're making all the moves. And when you play reactionary, after a moment, if you fall 1 step behind, all of a sudden you're 2 steps behind, 3 steps behind, then the game just snowballs out of control. That's why it's so important that even if you're behind, you're looking for individual plays. And they just haven't done that. They haven't used Pantheon to get into the bottom lane. Airy had a couple of nice plays, but hasn't really been able to get his team going. And in the end, it just looks like the same thing is going to happen. This game is slowly going to spiral out of control.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before as well. I mean, the bottom lane of Symphony look incredibly promising. They do fine in the laning phase, but they're just not getting any support by the rest of their team. And I think that if Missouri had been able to really get this one going this game, especially on the likes of Draven, who has so much power and control, then things could have looked a whole lot better.
Yeah, and maybe it's the fact that they think that they can go 2v2, and Impaired feels pressure to put a lot of emphasis on the top side of the map to get Rich Homie Dre out of the game. Because we've seen in a 1v1, yeah, First Mate may be able to keep up in CS, but he just does not have the same impact.
He certainly doesn't. But, you know, First Mate now 1-0-0 on this tree, so not a bad thing. But we are going to have the second turret of the game for Rich Gang falling down as Impaired going to clear away this ward here as well. And now trying to get rid of this wave. But Pantheon sort of, he's getting past his use-by date here just a little bit. Of course, Pantheon, fantastic in the early game, but hasn't really been utilized.
Yeah, and he's great for late-game initiation if he can get good man drops. But the problem at this point is they can just turn around and blow him up if he's behind the team. And if he goes too close to the team, they can just walk out of the ultimate.
Yeah, it's true. But we'll see whether the Symphony do have any tricks up their sleeve. A lot of adoration stacks still to be had on the side of Missouri. Still a few there, so
He's down to 27, so...
Okay, yeah, so not looking great. Gonna lose those when you die. So, still, you can work those back up, maybe get a little bit of extra money. Does have an Avarice Blade, and of course those Berserker's Greaves.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the pressure for this game now is on Missouri to make something happen. Yo-Yo Youngie is about 50 CS behind in that mid lane, 40 CS actually. So he's getting a little bit outclassed by Chenny Boy. And yeah, the amount of armor that's coming through, that Frozen Heart's now being completed by Rich Dre.
Yeah, and this is exactly at the right time as well. We were talking about item spikes and utilizing them effectively. Rich Homie Dre just has his eye on the money when it comes to that. Of course, finishing off that Frozen Heart as this dragon comes up and in position as well. This time, though.
Nice move walking into mid lane and forcing them off the dragon. However, Ezreal in the bottom lane, unmatched, is shoving that minion wave into the turret as well. So not getting much out of here. First Mate and Rich Homie Dre are just going to continue to slap each other.
Yep. Sonic Wave to the
And
head
they've started up
well.
the dragon straight away.
Yeah, Huey just going to come through. Rich Homie could tank it for about 15 years, I think, without actually dying. As the sapling does come through, that sockball going to land onto the Malphite here as well, but he's playing some nice zoning duties here as well, and this dragon going down very low. There's the Grand Skyfall actually coming through. Whirling Death going to land on no one in particular. Impaired going to get kicked back.
Wow.
There's the Unstoppable Force and the Shockwave. People melting left, right, and center. That's going to be the double kill for Rich Homie. He's getting so much damage here. And First Mate's going to fall down as well. Missouri and Yo-Yo Youngie so incredibly low, and the dragon now going to be finished off. What perfect teamfight execution coming through from the Rich Gang.
Yeah, Airy not even able to use Tibbers there, which is so important for their team composition. Everyone was so low, but that was just the perfect Malphite ultimate to get everything started. Rich Homie Dre in the top lane has been playing out of his mind.
He certainly has. 3-0 and 4 now on this Malphite. A double kill with the ground slam there as well. So just looking fantastic on this champion. And also just playing the game so intelligently. And that's what you need to do, especially as a top laner. It is such an academic lane.
Yeah, and he's just, as I said, he's been leaving the lane so often, being able to help his team. And he's only like 10 CS behind with 7 times the kill participation.
It is 7 times. Well, that's exactly right. Unless you call the kill on yourself. It might be just 3.5. We'll go into it later. I'm not entirely sure what the specifics of that particular one are, but First Mate has definitely not been present around this map, and it seems like having a rock in your back pocket is going to be helping out. You are doing these things, and now split pushing when he needs to. There's no other objectives that they want to go for, so he can afford to be up here.
Yeah, and no one can kill him, honestly. He is that big at the moment that like 1v5, it would take a while for him to still go down.
Yeah, and he's just going to be slapping that tower to death.
Impaired needs to be careful. He can be dove here.
Yeah, it's just going to get sharded in the face.
Ultimate is up for Rich Homie Dre. Impaired needs to be so careful. Malphite has a red buff. He is impossible to outrun.
Yeah, he's going to get slammed there as well. He's going to get stunned. There's Unstoppable Force on top of Impaired, and he's going to use that Chilling Smite. But as you can see, look, the red buff from Rich Homie, and he doesn't care about it. Turret. That does physical damage, buddy. That's not going to confuse him whatsoever. Huey now getting charmed up there a little bit, but this could be the start of the fight that they really want here. Whirling Death over a lot of members as True Shot Barrage going to do the same here as well, but that's going to be Rich Homie Dre coming through. Nice stand aside by Missouri to stop this, but I don't know whether it's going to quite be enough as Missouri going to sacrifice himself, knows that he's in no way able to get out of this one. The flash forward into the attack dissonance. Chenny Boy without any fear scoring the ace. And the zap on that turret just going to go through that shield just a little bit. And this looks like a Baron call might be coming through for the Rich Gang.
Yeah, it's like the exact repeat of what happened last game. They've just slowly edged their way in front, taken every single objective that they want to take, and now they've moved into, once again, nearly a perfect game.
Yeah. And 10,000 gold in the lead now, sort of out of nowhere here by the Rich Gang. Going to be extended even further now by the approximate 1,000, 1,500 gold.
Okay,
It's going to
so
be added on top of this.
just quickly, we'll talk about a mechanic that happened because there's not much that's going to happen in the game. Baron, if you have more than a couple of people behind him, puts up those spikes.
Yep.
Actually does a lot more damage. So for those playing, that's exactly why that happened. It's to encourage people to stand in front of the Baron and not be able to jump over the wall into the Baron pit and solo like we have been seeing.
Yeah, of course. So having a Caitlyn sort of standing behind the back and, you know, back when Mundo could do that fancy thing where you just sit there and throw cleavers for about 15 minutes to take a Baron. Very cute, very cute. But not going to be happening this time. Of course, I think that only works if you are in the pit, so maybe that'll still work.
Look at the red wards on the side of the top side of the jungle for Rich Gang. They've got the whole thing completely scouted out. Malphite's now picked up his Spirit Visage. If he can turret dive whenever he wants, if they put that ball on top of him, they need to be really careful about not getting dove right now.
Yeah, and a charm comes through, and Rich Gang actually take that as their sign to engage and not any other way around. So just no fear being shown at all by these guys.
And now extending their vision into their bottom side of the jungle as well. Will pick up a red buff for Day Shifted. I think they're trying to set up a gank brush, but that would be suicide for them to go into that jungle at the moment.
Really nice scrying orb. Perfectly placed here. Coming from Missouri. He ain't going to have none of that.
Yo-Yo Youngie pushing out the mid lane. Trying to get something for his team, but has been scouted out by Chenny Boy. He's going in by himself.
It's actually going to be Chenny Boy and Rich just hanging around. But
in the bottom lane. Looks like we have a little bit of a scuffle going on as well. Rich Homie.
Yeah, Impaired's found Rich Homie, but he's not going anywhere. J-Shift is here as well, and look at the damage coming out of Ezreal now that he has all of those items completed. He's got his last Whisper there as well as that Mana Immune, that gigantic spike after that one does stack up 750. And I mean, with that Iceborne Gauntlet, I mean, no one's going to be escaping him, not to mention the fact that there's a Malphite on top of your head.
And they're completely out-rotated Symphony around the map here. Dre has taken no damage from that turret, being able to pick up the first inhibitor turret of the game. It is the bottom one as well. Inhibitor will be falling shortly, and this may even be the end of the game. No, they're backing out, playing it nice and safely.
This is looking like a complete repeat of the last game. I mean, taking all of the objectives. Then they take the Baron. Then they go to the bottom lane, clear out that turret, back off again. Use that empowered recall, the fancy new one, in order to get themselves back to base, and then rinse and repeat. Probably going to head down the mid lane at this stage and try and get these super minions just to crush down on the side of Symphony. And not quite as many wards to be returned with here on the side of Rich Gang, but they have a couple of side stones, and they're just going to be able to start the Christmas tree back up again.
Yeah, and Rich Homie picking up another Giant's Belt for his trouble. He's even further down that tanky path. Impossible to be killed right now. 8 seconds on the Dragon, so that will be the next objective. Chenny Boy has gone pure damage in his build, being able to pick up 2 needlessly large items because there is no magic resistance whatsoever yet on the side of Symphony. They've just been starved of resources.
Yeah, they really, really have. That Void Staff going to probably be coming in next here for Chenny Boy.
Probably will go for a steal here.
Oh my goodness, not going to be happening. It doesn't even cancel it. Whirling Death's going to come through, going to get a lot of damage down actually, but that's going to be impaired. Falling down, First Mate decides that he definitely doesn't want to be doing this one now. Huey's going to get stunned. Nice flash, unstoppable force onto 2 squishy members is going to mean that Shockwave's just going to obliterate them. Both Missouri and Airy just... That was very, very sad. And everyone else now trying to do the work that they can. Zonya's Hourglass going to be popped by Chenny Boy. And
First Mate's running away from the jungle at this point.
And he is the jungle. So that is very scary. He's going to try and do what he can, but he's going to be battling minions here as well. This turret is going to fall down. You don't need to be watching that bottom lane now when the inhibitor's falling as well. 4 members of Rich Gang now. We are going to have a few members of Symphony now actually coming back up again because it's only 30 minutes into the game. Of course, not too high level, but Huey now finally going to fall down as Yo-Yo Youngie finds his way around there as well. True Shot Barrage is going to come through. Going to hit First Mate, but not going to quite kill him.
But they will be able to back away. Once again, methodical fashion coming out of Rich Gang here.
First Mate just like, yep, no one's here, we're fine. He's going to be A-okay, but his base isn't. And Day Shifted might actually find Yo-Yo Youngie here. He's a little bit out of mana, but no, he's going to back off. Ooh, I think he may have caught a glimpse of him there.
Yeah, just as a recall came through. Rich Homie prepping the top lane now.
Oh,
Chenny boy. That's really smart play. Look, it's the little things in League of Legends, scouting out a brush to make sure you're not being collapsed on before he goes in on Impaired, who once again is getting chunked out.
There's the Unstoppable Force again. First mate there. This combo has been so well done by the Rich Gang. The Unstoppable Shockwave.
And look, they have all their ultimates available. They see Rich Homie Dre and they're like, no, we're not even going to try it. We're just...
Yeah, what's the point?
Go defend the turret.
Do something that we can actually focus on actually doing. As Chenny Boy's going to steal away this blue buff here as well.
Yo-Yo Youngie is quite pushed up in this lane. Does have his ultimate available, but there are 3 members behind him.
Yeah, Yo-Yo Youngie, you're in a bit of trouble, mate. Does have his Rabbit and his Death Cap. He's got a lot of damage here to offer. Huey now going to get Dissonance for the speed. And Yo-Yo Youngie, mate, are you going to be okay? Does get caught by that Sonic Wave there as well. Does have Spirit Rush available. Doesn't land the Charm. Orb of Deception going to come back through, but Chenny Boy is going to be fine as well.
7-1 and 11 for Chenny Boy, as Missouri is having a very hard time trying to clean out this bottom lane.
Yeah, needs to bring all of his friends down here in order to help him out.
I think any team watching this, the most terrifying thing about Rich Game is how methodically they play. You would think that a team that is this far ahead, they're 16,000 gold ahead, had 32 minutes with every Dragon and a Baron, and they're still playing it like it's tutorial style. They're going around the map and taking out every single turret, making sure that they just strangle the opposition out.
And they've just been able to play their own game, their own style, both of these matchups. And I think that if you're anyone watching, I mean, I want to see something else out of these guys, because we've seen exactly the same style of play. It's been done incredibly well. But Symphony were just unable to put them in an uncomfortable position. They just looked like they were playing exactly how they wanted to this entire time.
Yeah, certainly did. And another Baron will be spawning in a couple of seconds, so they're just waiting for that one to come out. Chenny Boy looking to maybe catch the support as they come up the ward. Has now pinged area out.
Another thing we got to mention as well is Day Shift. It's 6-0 and 7 on this Ezreal that was pressured really hard by the Draven of Missouri early on, but now they're even preparing their final push by using that True Shot Barrage to get some damage on Baron. And there's the Grand Skyfall. Going to come through a little bit late. Actually, Impaired's going to follow through on that one as well. Unfortunately, he's going to get danced around there just a little bit. And finally kicked in the head. So Huey is going to give him the benefit of a ultimate.
Oh, wow, yeah. Missouri going in, but blown up.
That was the shock force that time. That's how you do it the other way around, ladies and gentlemen. There's actually the Flash Arcane Shift coming through onto Yo-Yo Youngie.
And the heal coming out.
And Ares.
the
resonating Flash. I love it. That was fantastic. Huey just having a little bit more fun on his champion here as they're going to push these super creeps into the base. It looks to me like Rich Gang know that they may have won this one, just throwing down some wards here as well. Nexus turrets are going to be falling. Huey a little bit overexcited there, but he's still going to be fine. It's not actually an issue here. First mate going to try and make something happen. Nice Dragon Rage kick, actually going to land onto a lot of members. Impaired now in a lot of trouble. Huey doesn't even get hit by the laser for some reason. Day Shift, it probably could be used to actually win the game at this point instead of just hanging around, but it is going to be the rest of the members of the team and these creeps that are going to be finishing off the Nexus here as Symphony going to fall down to Rich Gang once again, and Rich Gang looking so incredibly powerful so far. There's the Unstoppable Shockwave as the Nexus does get taken down, and Rich Gang definitely looking like the team to beat thus far.
Yeah, definitely. They won that in very emphatic style against the veteran team that had a lot of recognizable names, so really well played.
Yeah, one thing to mention about Symphony is that they just looked like they weren't coordinated quite enough, so after a bit of time, you could imagine that these guys might be able to come through and really bring a different team fight up here, a different team comp, team strategy, and maybe some more coordinated play.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the thing that about Rich Gang, as we have a replay to bring up, which shows exactly this, is that they're very proactive. So this is the gank that comes through where first mate thinks, finally, I've caught Chenny Boy out. He is I will be able to kill him. They blow so much on trying to kill Chenny Boy. And look, he lives on nothing. They're able to pick up area off the screen. Chenny Boy still lives. The massive shockwave comes through. And then look, they keep committing. I want to kill Chenny Boy. I want to kill Chenny Boy. But unfortunately, does not happen. They pick up 4 kills for themselves because I believe there was a kill before this even started. And it was just that kind of game over and over again.
Yeah, it's just terrifying. And the fact that they see something happening and instantly everyone on Rich Gang is reacting to it. Can I help out this situation? Can I alleviate this pressure? And they capitalized on it every single time.
Yeah, and I think the reason it was so easy for them to do is they're the ones that are creating the situation. If you create a situation and understand exactly what you need to do to win a game, it is much easier to play to that style as opposed to what do we need to stop them from doing.
Yeah.
And that is how the game looked. It looked like a very positive, proactive team versus a very negative, very reactive team. And in the end, Rich Gang just ran over the top of it.
They certainly did. Rich Gang looking absolutely terrifying at this stage. But this is going to be a double elimination tournament. So Rich Gang, to solidify their spot, are going to have to win another game next weekend. And Symphony not out just yet. So if they win one more, they can possibly come through in that lower bracket. But we are going to be seeing that one next week. It's going to be all from us this week here for the Oceanic Challenger Series. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. And make sure you stick around for next week because we will be seeing who's going to be getting through most likely into our Oceanic Pro League. Don't go anywhere.